Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a series. This is part 3, going over the Test элементарного уровня, level A1, from the book Testy, Testy, Testy. So, номер 25. Это мое любимое, любимое или любимый пальто. So they want us to match the adjectives to the grammatical gender numbering case. And we can see mayo and pальто. So mayo is a singular neuter form, and we should be able to recognize that. And we also see pальто, which ends with an o. That's a noun in the singular neuter. That's singular and neuter. So we're looking for a singular neuter ending for this adjective, любимый. And the answer is going to be be, любимое, or yeah. So that's the ending for a singular neuter adjective. 26. Ко мне пришел любимая, любимое или любимый брат. Brat, which ends in a hard consonant, is singular masculine. And that makes sense because brat means brother. So we're going to be looking for a singular masculine ending, and that's going to be ve, любимый, и краткое. And we should be able to recognize that. 27. Сегодня идет дождь. Это моя любимая, любимая или любимый погода. So моя погода. We can see мой has the ending моя, or я, and then we have погода, which is the ending for a singular feminine noun. So we're going to be looking for something that ends with an or a ya. And so that's going to be okay? Это моя любимая погода. So we can see all the endings here match. 28. Сегодня у меня или мне нет свободного времени. So they want you to choose the right case for the pronoun я. And here we are expressing possession using the construction у кого, okay? And we are also expressing negation, нет чего. So 28 would be нет свободного времени, no free time. And some examples of this exact construction of using у кого нет чего would be у меня нет слов. And this is a great expression. It means I have no words. So if you have nothing to say, if someone asks you if you have any questions or why aren't you saying anything, you can just say у меня нет слов. I have no words. Okay. Slov comes from slova. And so that's the genitive plural case for slova. Нет слов. Okay, next one. У вас нет собаки. You have no dog. Okay. So we're using the u construction to indicate possession, у вас. And then we're using the нет чего, нет собаки, to indicate negation or the absence of something. Okay. У тебя нет бассейна. So you have у тебя, so you have, and then нет бассейна, so to indicate the lack of something, no pool. So бассейн is a singular masculine noun because it ends with a hard consonant. And when you're forming the genitive, нет чего, you're going to add the at the end to бассейн. So going back to 28, you would say, сегодня у меня нет свободного времени. I have no free time. If you were to say сегодня я нет свободного времени, that's not how you indicate possession. That would be saying today I no free time. And that's not how you would say that. Сегодня мне нет свободного времени. We also don't use the dative case when indicating possession. We're going to be using у меня. I have no free time. Okay, so know this expression here. У кого нет чего. 29. Кого, кому или с кем ты учишься в одной группе. So they want you to choose the right case for кто. And here we are actually expressing who someone studies with. Okay, учиться с кем. So an example, you would say, я учусь с другим студентом. I study with a different student. So when you look at 29, it's going to be с кем ты учишься в одной группе. With whom do you study in one group? Okay. You don't use кого when you're saying учиться. You don't use кому when you're using учиться. You can only учиться с кем или учиться где. To study where or with whom. Okay, so с кем ты учишься? Вчера я встретил твоему или с твоим друга. So we want to match the adjective твой to the grammatical gender numbering case, друг. And so we need to know that друг is the accusative animate form of, друга is the accusative animate form of друг. Okay, встретить кого, to meet someone. Okay, whomever or whatever you meet is the direct object. And so you're going to be putting those direct objects in the accusative case. So an example here would be я видел вашего студента. Видеть meaning to see, and then ваш студент is the direct object. And so we put it in the accusative animate case, вашего студента. And to remind you guys, this does look like the genitive singular masculine form. So accusative animate and genitive are the exact same for singular masculine, except for some special cases. Okay, so вчера я встретил твоему или с твоим друга. It's going to be вчера я встретил твоего друга. That's going to be the answer to a, because that's how you form the accusative animate case for друг or твой. 31. Я видел с этой или эту девушку в театре. So видеть and then кого and что, because whatever you see is the direct object. And so you want to put what you see in the accusative case. So девушка becomes девушку. Это becomes эту. Okay, so a to u, ya to you, ending change for singular feminine in the accusative case. An example down here would be я любил твою сестру. So твоя сестра is the direct object. Therefore, we use the accusative animate case. Твоя сестра becomes твою сестру. 32. Моя мама идет из магазину или из магазина. So you want to choose the appropriate case for magazine, and we need to recognize the is. That preposition always triggers the genitive case. So we want to put magazine in the genitive case. So я пошел из ресторана. So ресторан is a genitive case. In the genitive case, you're going to put the a ending because it's a singular masculine noun that ends with a hard consonant. Я пошел из ресторана. Knowing this, going back to 32, моя мама идет из магазина. В. That's going to be the answer here, because that's it. That's the genitive form for the singular masculine noun, magazine. Номер 35. Ольга пришла домой с лекцией или лекция. So once again, they want us to choose the appropriate case, and they want us to recognize the construction прийти откуда, meaning to come from somewhere. And to answer this question, we're going to be using the prepositions из, с, and от. And we're going to be distinguishing between these prepositions in a second. Going back to the question, Ольга пришла домой с лекции, from the lecture. Okay, so the answer is going to be B. If we talk about, if we look at option A, лекции, that's the instrumental case for лекция. So that would mean Olga came home by way of the lecture, meaning it served as some kind of vehicle or some kind of medium for her to get home, which in this case doesn't really make any sense. If we do ve, лекция, that's just a nominative case. So it's as if you just dropped that word out of nowhere. Olga came home lecture. Okay. Doesn't make much sense in English, and it doesn't make much sense in Russian either. So that's where we put be, лекции, from the lecture. So how do you differentiate between is, se, and ot? When do you use these? If you're going to talk about kuda, direction, to somewhere, and you use v, then when you're talking about coming from that place, you're going to be using is. If you go somewhere using na, you come from that place using se. All right. And then ka and ot are used for animate beings. So if you're going to someone or coming from someone, you use ka and ot respectively. So what are some examples? First example here, я пошел в магазин. I went to the store. And you're using v here because magazine, store, is an enclosed space. And so that's why you use v. And then when you're coming from the store, you're going to be using из. Я пришел из магазина. I came from the store, okay? And you'll recognize that magazine is in the singular genitive case because you're using из. Они пошли на рынок. So рынок is think of it as an open air market. So it's a fairly open space, and that's why you would use na, okay? Na рынок for direction towards. If you're coming from the market, then you're going to be using с. Они пришли с рынка. Okay, с рынка. Again, genitive case. And then the third example, брат пошел к бабушке. Brother went to grandma. To grandma, and that's why you use к, right? That's an animate being. It's a person. You're going to be using k plus dative case. Okay, so this is different from the v and the na. When using v and na for direction, you're going to be using the accusative case, and when you're using k for direction towards, you're going to be using the dative case. K бабушке. All right, and when you're coming from grandma, you're going to be doing брат пришел от бабушки. Brother came from grandma. And that is a singular genitive case, okay? To come from your grandma. So again, to reiterate, when you're talking about coming from somewhere, прийти откуда, you're going to be using the prepositions из, с, and от, plus the genitive case for all of them. Hopefully this helps you differentiate between these prepositions and when to use each of them. All right, 36. Летом мы отдыхали деревню или в деревне. Again, they want us to choose the appropriate case, and we want to answer the question, отдыхать где? Okay, therefore we use the prepositional case. Where were you having vacation? Where were you resting? And the only one that has a prepositional case here is в деревне. Because here we have a preposition and деревня is in the prepositional case because the ya ending turns into a ye ending, в деревне. So answer to 36 is в деревне. If you looked at a деревня with a ya ending, that's just a nominative form. And so what that would mean is летом мы отдыхали деревня. In the summer, we rested village, okay? Again, no relation to the rest of the sentence. Б, деревню, that is the accusative case. And there's nothing here to indicate the use of the accusative case. Отдыхать does not use the accusative case because there's no direct object, okay? You rest somewhere, you have a vacation somewhere, but you don't perform this action on anything, and therefore you can't use деревню. And so the answer for 36 is going to be в деревне. 37. На уроке мы говорили Москва о Москве или Москву. Again, choose the appropriate case. We want to answer the question говорить о чем. So we've been exposed to говорить с кем, to speak with someone. And here we're going to be talking about something, о чем. And when we use о чем, this requires a prepositional case. Чем is a prepositional form of что. Okay. So knowing this, going back to the question, на уроке мы говорили о Москве. The answer is going to be B, a Moskvе, to speak or to talk about Moskva, Moscow. If you said Moskva, just Moskva, that has no relation to the rest of the sentence. That's just the nominative form. And so you would be saying, at the lesson, we spoke or we talked, and then Moscow, okay? Which doesn't make any sense. Look at option V, Moskvu. That is an A to U ending change. And so that is accusative case. Unfortunately, when we talk about something, that something does not serve as a direct object. Okay, so we can't say говорит Москву. We have to do говорит о чем. Говорит о чем. And so that's why the answer is B, о Москве. 38. Я забыла свои тетради. Дом, доме или дома. So they want us to choose the appropriate case for the noun дом. And we want to answer the question, забыть где, to forget where, okay? Where did you forget your notebooks, right? And when you answer где, you should be thinking about the prepositional case, в доме. And this would be an okay way to answer the question. You can say в доме, but that would mean that you have a specific emphasis on the fact that it is physically inside the house, as opposed to being in the yard. Okay, and so if we look at our options, if be, domě, had a v in front of it, then and it said domě, then that would be an appropriate answer. However, there's only domě, dom in the prepositional form and no preposition, and so the answer cannot be be. If we look at a, dom, that is just the nominative form or the accusative form of house or home. And that's not really appropriate here because it's not really answering the question, где. Okay. Дома is the genitive form of dom, which doesn't really make any sense here. But what this question is really trying to get at is it wants you to recognize that doma, it's not just a genitive form of dom. It's also an adverb meaning at home. Okay, it's an irregular form. So the answer is going to be V, дома. Я забыла свои тетради дома. And just as an FYI, дома is the old form of dom for the Russian locative case, which don't worry, you don't have to learn it because it's no longer a thing in Russian. There are some remnants of it, but in general, Russian locative case to indicate the location of something is replaced by the prepositional case. So doма is now considered an adverb to describe being at home. Okay, so in this case, it's not doма as in the genitive case of dom, it is doма as in the adverb meaning at home. And so that's why we say, я забыла свои тетради дома. В. 39. Вы поедете на экскурсию автобус, на автобусе или на автобус. Again, choose the appropriate case. When we're defining modes of transportation, we use на чем. Are you going on the excursion or on the trip? And then they want you to define the mode of transportation. Okay, so we're going to be using на автобусе because we want the prepositional case, на чем. So the answer is going to be B, на автобусе. A few examples down here. Мы поехали в Грузию на поезде. We went to Georgia on the train or by train. So again, поезд is going to be in the prepositional case, and so we add the «е» at the end. На поезде. Я полетел на самолете. I flew by plane as opposed to, I don't know, by helicopter, right? And so самолет, when you're doing the prepositional case, you're going to add the «е» ending. На самолете. And so that's why the answer is B, на автобусе, because we're using на чем constructions to define modes of transportation.